Hey everybody, I'm Troy Williamson with Cornerstone Home Lending, and today we're going to talk a little bit about jumbo financing. So jumbo financing has traditionally been any loan that with a loan amount that exceeds the conforming loan limit, which is currently any loan over $647,200, with a couple of exceptions. And those exceptions would include high balance conforming financing, which is only available in certain high dollar areas. But jumbo financing is traditionally follows some of the same guidelines as conventional financing does. It can be used on primary home purchases, secondary purchases, and investment properties. However, whereas the guidelines for qualifications on conventional financing are relatively uniform because they're set by the agencies, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the guidelines for jumbo financing is going to be a bit different because it's all investor driven. And there is a ton of different jumbo investors out there. You've got your Wells Fargo, Chase, Truist, PenFed, Redwood Trust, Citibank. There's a lot of different jumbo investors. So when we're looking at jumbo financing, it's very important for us to make sure that when we're looking at a borrower's qualifications, that it fits the qualifications for that specific investor. Um, Obviously, anytime we're looking at jumbo financing and we have a borrower scenario, number one, we're always looking to find them the very best interest rate that we can. So we can go between all the different investors and basically go with who's got the best interest rate for that day based upon that scenario. However, there may be nuances, with that particular investor that may keep our borrower from qualifying for that particular loan program. In that instance, if we didn't do our due diligence on the front end, it could be in a position where we have to switch investors, and it could put them in a position where their interest rate ends up being higher or there's more associated loan costs. So something that, when you're working with a lender for jumbo financing, one, you want to make sure that they have access to several different jumbo investors because that's where you're going to have the most available options and the flexibility for financing, as well as having competitive interest rates as well. Typically on jumbo financing, minimum credit score requirements are going to be a little bit higher than conventional financing. Typically, on conventional financing, we're going to require a minimum credit score of 620 in most all cases. Whereas jumbo financing, there are some exceptions. You can go with lower credit scores, but a lot of times with lower credit scores, you're going to have a larger down payment requirement or a requirement for additional reserves. Usually for jumbo financing, we like to see credit scores of 680 plus, but you're going to open the door to more investors the higher that your credit score is. Typically, jumbo investors also have more strict requirements on maximum debt to income ratios, whereas on conventional financing, we can go up to 50% on a strong credit file. That's kind of the max. Whereas some jumbo investors will go that high, but usually you're going to be maxed at like anywhere between 41 and 45%, depending upon the scenario. And then for conventional financing, for requirements as it pertains to assets for reserve purposes, sometimes on conventional financing, you don't need reserves at all, depending upon, again, the scenario. Whereas jumbo financing, typically you're going to need reserves in some capacity, but how much you need in reserves will depend upon credit score, will depend upon what the property classification is, whether it's primary, second investment property. It could change depending upon whether or not you're self-employed or not. So a lot of different variations of guidelines depending upon investor in the jumbo financing arena. As always, if you've got a specific scenario, you want more detailed information, feel free to reach out to us at any point in time. We're always here and more than happy to help. Have a great day.